pure love. And Kṛṣṇa is very happy to get that message in his mailbox. And what Kṛṣṇa is doing then is that he sends out the Brahmana messenger back to Rukmiṇī in the city she's living. And that Brahmana is very nicely, received by Rukmiṇī. He wants to give him gifts and stuff, but she doesn't have any paraphernalia already, so she simply bows down to him. And the messenger is just very, very, he's very effulgent and, looking very, very, auspicious, as any messenger of Kṛṣṇa would look. So she immediately just sees, this, because she was waiting for a few days, when is Kṛṣṇa going to answer my mail, right? She feels, actually it was coming to the last day when the marriage is actually going to be. And Rukmiṇī has arranged, there is going to be a lot of princes there, and she can choose from a series of princes. That's how it usually is, the system. But Kṛṣṇa is not invited, like that. But anyway, Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, they are showing up. Actually, Kṛṣṇa comes with his brother Balaram. Yeah. And the king of Rukmiṇī, he's just very happy to see them. He doesn't have any issues, but he just complied with his son Rukmiṇī, that some or other Rukmiṇī should be married to another prince. But anyway, when Kṛṣṇa and Balaram shows up, he's happy to see them. So now we're just jumping right into in the middle of the story, where Rukmiṇī is now preparing actually to meet Kṛṣṇa. She has heard that Kṛṣṇa is going to come. Still she hasn't seen him yet. So she is walking into the temple of the goddess Bhavani, which is another name of wife of Lord Shiva, also known as Durga or Parvati, like that. So here we are in the translation of text 40. Or 39 to 43, 40 to 43, let's see, 40 to 41, yeah. So it says that Rukmiṇī silently went out on foot to see the lotus feet of the deity Bhavani, accompanied by her mothers and girlfriends, and protected by the king's valiant soldiers, who held their upraised weapons at the ready. She simply absorbed her mind in the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa. All the while, mridangas, conchs, panavas, horns, and other instruments resounded. This is also a feature, in our temple we play, the mridanga and kartals, and that's pretty much it. But in the kingdom, they are having more than just mridanga. They have something called panavas, which I guess is a different type of drum. Let's see, and they have dundubis. That's another type of drum. Have you sometimes been in Haranam and you see they play some other instrument like the djembe? Yeah?
No, just like a drum thing that is maybe a bit deeper and...
Yeah, it has more loudness in the sound. And you play it from, top, right? There, you hit it from the top of the drum. The drum is turned, all the way.
With sticks?
Huh? Yeah, with sticks, yeah, exactly.
Oh no, I haven't seen that in person, but I definitely have heard it.
Yeah, in India it's very common. I was, in December I was in Dwarka, and they love to have this music. They have processions several times a day for weddings, for funerals, or some other nice occasion, and they always have, people playing this drum. I don't remember exactly what they're called. And then you have djembes, a little similar, but they're smaller than that, and they're just placed directly with the hands. We've used that we've used that also in the kirtans sometimes. I think we used it last time we had Scandinav. Was it somebody who had that drum?
I don't think.
I think even we have one in the temple. This kind of is more white drum. You play it from top to bottom like that. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
And they said also they had, shanka, that's the conch shell.
Right.
And then they have some turia, that's wind instruments, and beria, that's a horn, kind of horn that Krishna is also carrying.
Oh, that kind of horn.
Yeah. Have you seen that? Krishna and Balaram, sometimes they have Krishna usually has a horn stuck in his belt.
Yeah.
That's one of his accessories, and he's also blowing that sometimes. Actually, that isn't that a thing that some hardcore Christians they also do sometimes? Have you seen that? But they have a huge horn actually. Have you seen that? Sometimes I saw in Oslo sometimes they just take out the huge horn. It's like very long.
I've seen one instrument that is a Norwegian folk instrument that is like a super long thing, and it's like a horn almost. I think it's.
So it's a Norwegian folk instrument.
Yeah, I thought so, or maybe like English or something.
Because once or a few times I've seen that, one of the, Christian preachers he was using this to kind of start his sermon. Right there in the city, he was blowing this. He was nicely dressed in traditional, clothes, and he was blowing this, and then he started, his preaching.
But this thing is so big you cannot carry it, one person. It's like stationed.
Oh, I see. Okay, but that was a smaller what he had. It was probably something like a horn then. Yeah. Yeah. So but in any case, these are festive. They create a festive mood. Yeah. They create, a mood by which people are attracted and they want to come. So Rukmiṇī was, she was a princess. So wherever she went, she had a whole, huge group of followers. Yeah. And now it's also mentioned here. Now we go to verse 42 to 43. Let's see. I'll just see if this comes up. Yeah, it's functioning. Yeah. So 42 and 43 it says, I'll just I'll just read the synonyms for Sanskrit. Nana, various, upahara with paraphernalia worship, balibi and presents, vara mukhya, prominent courtesans, sahasrasaha, by the thousands, shrak with flower garlands, gandha fragrances, vastra clothing, abharanai and jewelry, dvija of brahmanas, patnya the wives, sva alankrita well ornamented, gayanta singing, cha and stuvanta offering prayers, cha and gayaka singers, vadya vadaka instrumental musicians, parivarya accompanying, vadum the bride, jagmu went, suta bards, magadha chroniclers, vandina and heralds. Okay, it's translation. Behind the bride followed thousands of prominent courtesans bearing various offerings and presents, along with well-adorned brahmanas' wives, singing and reciting prayers and bearing gifts of garlands, scents, clothing and jewelry. There were also professional singers, musicians, bards, chroniclers and heralds. Yeah, I think herald means something like a news... newsman. You have like a newspaper has that name, no? Yeah, a message. It's one who gives important news. It was one of the officers of the king.
Oh.
It can also be a harbinger. Yeah, he's telling him when something is going to happen.
Is it a harbinger?
Yes, it also says that. Yeah. I mean, it's used in poetry. This, as you know. Anyway, it's of course back in the day these people were there, especially in the Vedic time. The king had all these people, and the chronicler it means a person who is in charge of knowing the lineage of the king. So he knows. Sometimes you hear Krishna says, "Oh, scion of the Bharatas." Yeah. So this chronicler. Or this what do you call that, Magadha. He was knowing the whole lineage of the king, and he also was chanting that that you are in the line of this and this king who did all these great deeds. Yeah. And Sutta, that was the main singer of verses. He was chanting in the rhymes, yeah, in the melodies. Nice songs for glorifying. And these people were also present. Every day the king would wake up in the morning, playing instruments and making the life of the king a little bit cozy by glorifying him. And it said that actually the king, he needs this for his psychology to work. And in the evening also, when he goes to bed, they're similarly also playing instruments and accompanying him, playing music into his sleep. Yeah, pretty good to be a king back then. Yeah. So, but they needed that too, because then they would be really fully inspired. So they always was hiring people like this. Yeah. So they're also here, and they're probably following, because they're actually chanting. They're probably singing and chanting like that. Yeah. Yeah. So and then it says all courtesans. You know what a courtesan is? It's like it's actually you can say, sorry for the expression, Vedic. What do you call these people? Yeah, you can say a Vedic prostitute, so to speak. Yeah.
Right.
But it's not the kind of it's like a high class. What do you call this? There is another word for that also used.
Society lady.
Society lady. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So they were of course always beautiful, and they were also part of the king's whenever some princes were married to a king, they usually followed a group of these also.
I think that's something else, right? That's something. That's like a servant or something, right?
Yeah, servants. Yeah. Sometimes they. I mean, anyway, we may probably don't understand how it works from our society now. It's completely different. There was actually a very nice.
Maybe the tradition is, I don't think, followed very much, but at least people know about maybe that it was the custom, to give away many servants and all kinds of people also in marriage ceremony.
Because it was like it was a great privilege, because there were you can say from that class of people, and they were treated very nicely in the kingdom. It's not that they were like prostitutes in that way, but it's just like they called like that. But they were like high class people, and they did singing and dancing and all these things. Yeah. Anyway, so I mean that's all I've heard in the description. So I cannot say more than that, because I'm not living in back 5,000 years, so I don't know. But they were also there when Kṛṣṇa Balaram is coming to Dwarka, for example, or Mathura. They're also there to greet Kṛṣṇa Balaram.
Oh, right.
These kinds of people. Yeah. So then the next verse is saying, Asadya Devi Sadhanam Dauta Pada Karambuja Upasprishya Shuti Shanta Pravivesham Bikantikam. Yeah, so upon reaching the goddess temple, Rukmiṇī first washed her lotus feet and hands and then sipped water for purification. Thus sanctified and peaceful, she came into the presence of Mother Ambika. So this is also one of the customs. Actually, if you go to some temples in India, they have, actually most temples, they have a foot wash station before you go in. You can actually, I've done that, I like to do that. I mean, especially India is so warm. You actually, like in Mayapur, you walk barefoot. And there is, outside any temple of a certain size, they have, full place where you can wash your feet, hands, and mouth before you actually go in. And pilgrims, they are doing that. They really do. So that's, part of the custom. And one entered the temple never with shoes on, always barefoot. Yeah. So So we can see Rukmiṇī was doing that, coming into the Mother Ambika temple. So what is the meaning of? Actually, Ambika means mother. Yeah, that's the meaning of Ambika. It means mother. Yeah, it's one of the names of the wife of Lord Shiva. She is the mother of the universe, as we explained. Yesterday also. She's also called Durga. Actually, usually we hear that Durga means, she who is difficult, to deal with, right? But Durga also means something more, because she takes away the problems. That's, for those who worship Durga, actually, that's the epithet for her, because she is the remover of the problems. Yeah. So the name also means that, actually, the one who removes the problems.
But the technical question is the proper worship of Durga, does that lead to bhakti?
Well, if you are in the mood of Rukmiṇī, yes. You have to really be in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. I mean, in trance. Yeah.
Right.
To pray, to actually pray, to Durga. Please, give me Kṛṣṇa, or give me the blessing so that I can, have a. I mean, this is high level, Usually, everybody is worshipping Durga as the one who gives, material, prosperity, material happiness.
There's some particular way you worship, but I guess that may or may not be a material way, right? But anyway, also
you can say yeah. Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, previously we said that Durga's mission here is to eventually, beat us in this world, beat us until we actually surrender unto Krishna, right?
It's like some kind of interrogation or something. Somebody doesn't want to speak, and the person is just torturing until the person speaks. So it's something similar. If you don't want to chant Hare Krishna, Durga is just beating you until you finally surrender, right? It doesn't need to be actually like that, because she has, the other side. It's like she's a person just like us. It's the same, Yeah. So say for example, just imagine if you are a father or mother, and you have children, and they get on your nerves, then you may have to chastise them, or keep back the money, or they cannot get any snacks for some time, but then until they surrender, and then now again it's okay. And then what does the mother then give? A lot of love, right? The mother is then bombarding the children with love, because she actually likes. So in the same way with Durga, actually, she has the other side is that when we are nice and we comply with her request, then she bombards us with love. She gives all paraphernalia we need. Just like the mother and father, they really do that when the child is pleasing them.
Yeah.
So it's needed, actually. I mean, in the beginning, of course, we just are very negative. Durga is just the witch, punishes us with her Trisul, and we really
Definitely my approach.
Yeah, we're just really scared of her, and Maya is luring around the corner everywhere. Yeah, but after some time, actually, one gets a more healthy relationship, you can say, with that person. That she can actually give blessings also. It's not that she only 24/7 are just hitting us in the head. No, she's not a terrorist. She's not, and you can ask any Hindu, they will immediately be, agreeing with that, because they have been worshipping Durga since their childhood. Most of the Hindus, right?
Right.
But of course, with caution, because we are trying to be devotees of Krishna. So technically, we don't actually worship Durga. We just worship Krishna, as they all know. And we can worship, Krishna's devotees, like the Guru, and so in that way, Durga is also, definitely devotee. So she is very devoted to Krishna in his form as Shiva. So that you can say that the only problem is that Durga is only in the material world. Yeah. So that's her field. So she's also you can say she's actually colored by the material world. He said that the difference between Mahavishnu and Shiva is that Mahavishnu is also entering the material world, but he's never actually touching the material world. Lord Shiva, he actually gets his hands dirty. That's the thing. And Durga Devi also. They're actually mixing with the material world. And in that way, sometimes they're seen as inauspicious, you see, to deal with. So that's why we always advise to go rather to Vishnu and Lakshmi, the couple from Sattvaguna. Yeah. But still, Durga Devi is, an amsha of Lakshmi. She is an expansion of Lakshmi Devi into this material world to do a specific task. Yeah. So since she is, an expansion of the goddess of fortune, sometimes she also is called, a goddess of fortune. Although, she gives material fortune, but she can actually also help us getting back to the original, you can say, goddess of fortune in the spiritual world. Because she definitely is qualified, being an expansion of the Daivi Shakti. She definitely has the means to help us. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and if you read about her stories, I mean, she is helping people all the time. They were asking, can you please kill this asura, and she's killing the asura. She killed that's one of the reasons why she got the. So I have a reference here actually about Durga. You have a place called in Lakshmi Tantra. That's actually a Pancharatra text. It's a Vaishnava text, and there. Sorry. In that Lakshmi Tantra, then Lakshmi has Durga as one of her forms, and she acquires the name Durga after killing the demon Durgasura. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a Vaishnava Pancharatra text. So in that way, Durga is not a persona non grata. We can mention her name. We can definitely appreciate her. Yeah.
I think. I guess it's so very different the approach for a Vaishnav than for any other normal person who isn't Vaishnav.
Yeah, that's very, very true. People are not Vaishnava. They have a. Yeah. What do you say?
Yeah, just like speaking from personal experience. Like before I jumped into Krishna consciousness very seriously, it was like, I'm not suffering very much in this world. I was happy and thinking I was pretty renounced and not really hankering after many things, and I felt like whoever was in charge of the material world was also my like a good friend, like always giving whatever I need and being funny, humorous, and all kinds of good things.
That's very nice to hear. It's the truth.
Yeah, feels like it also.
The only little caveat that is that you have a time limit. It's a shelf life of this body,
Right. I never was much worried about that.
Well, many people are also not. You kind of start dawning to one the older one gets, because then you kind of get faced with some of the lesser nice sides about life.
Maybe. Yeah. I would still think, this body is getting creaky and old. It's gonna be good to get rid of it.
Yeah. So you can say Durga is playing a part in making life miserable. Also, so in that way, people are also, you can say, scared of her, and they want to have, her goodwill.
In the form of taking away all, the temporary side of existence, because good things never last. They just vanish into time eternal.
Yeah, and the other side is also the side of punishment. That's especially one of the sides where people are, and rightly so, afraid of, the Maya Devi or Durga Devi, because we see once we're not following the rules of Dharma, then she's on our case. And because she is, a manifestation of Shiva's Tamoguna, then she's pretty fierce in chastising. So say if we get into the wrong things, like drugs or criminality of any form, our life is going to turn pretty sour, pretty much. Yeah. And apart from that, just living here, we get, old age is creeping into our body, and also diseases. And these are not enjoyable things. And even, relationship, they can also, it's many things that happens once you go through life. People can, people we know can get into trouble or leave their body and stuff like that. So many things can happen, and so one can turn out into a ridiculously poor situation even, which we couldn't even imagine. It can be quite bad. But if we actually have the connection with Kṛṣṇa, we can go through all these things, because we will actually never, it said, all these bad happenings can be stepping stones to our success. I mean, our spiritual success. Yeah. And then we can even view these effects of Durga and Shiva in the world. We can view them as actually helping us for that.
Because that is the point all along, for, well, I guess he says it's for means of oppressing lawlessness is punishment.
Yeah.
But to uphold the law, the whole point is to, to develop people into Vaishnavas, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. And Lord Shiva, as we talked about, yesterday, he's the god of Rita, actually the order in the universe. And he has appointed, Durga Devi as being the constable or the mistress to take care of, all these, you can say, spiritual children, which we are. So in one sense, the whole material world is like a giant gigantic kindergarten. And she is the mistress of the kindergarten, like that. Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah. I just got a message here. So sorry. Yeah, very good. So because we can go to the next verse. Yeah.
Yeah.
We will get even more information here now. So it said in verse 10:53-45, Tamvai pravaya so balam vidigya viprayoshitaha bhavanim vandayam chakrur bhavapatnim bhavanvitam. So the translation: the older wives of Brahmanas, expert in the knowledge of rituals, led young Rukmiṇī in offering respects to Bhavani, who appeared with her consort, Lord Bhava. So here we can see that Rukmiṇī is led by the wives of the Brahmanas. Actually, you have a few instances. Quite often you hear that people who have to do with the devotees in the Mahabharata, like for example, you have the Pandavas, like Yudhishthira, is often asking advices from the sages, right? So they are pure, what we call pure devotees. They are definitely Kṛṣṇa devotees, Kṛṣṇa bhaktas. All the Pandavas, we all agree about that, right? And sometimes they have brahmanas. They take advice from brahmanas and sages who are, and the sages themselves. Guess what? They are devotees of Lord Shiva.
Right. But also, I mean, the way you would measure it, if it's something like for the most critical point. If you're able to give up all your religion, so to speak, for Kṛṣṇa's request or satisfaction.
Yeah. Then what's the implication?
Then I guess that is the measure of the purity. Then I guess, but also there's a second layer that is also the the hidden layer, or so to speak, the layer that is also beneath the play that is going on in the Mahabharata, right?
Exactly.
Because, yeah.
There always a layer beneath there, and that is the devotion of the Pandavas is unshakable.
Right.
So actually, what I'm trying to say is that actually devotees of Krishna or Vishnu, they don't have any problem, dealing with worshippers of Shiva or worshippers of Devi. They can deal with them, and they can even employ them in different jobs. They can take advice from them. That doesn't mean that of course these people we see here, like wives of the Brahmanas, they may be devotees also of Krishna. You see, they may be devotees of Krishna, but here they're helping Rukmiṇī in doing the rituals for for getting the blessings of Durga Devi, or Bhavani. So these are like a Brahmana, he or she can do that and still be a devotee of Krishna. That's my point, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's just like a mission you've been assigned, right?
Yeah. So because sometimes you have the impression, or we can get the impression that it's like dangerous to even see a picture of Shiva or Durga. It's like
Well, maybe if you have like an untrained mind, or a mind that is very making offenses left and right.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be a little dangerous because they are so easy to hand out punishment and rewards, right?
Yeah, exactly. But actually, they can be treated as friendly. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was my point. And also that these people we hear about in Mahabharata and also here in Bhagavatam, who are maybe devotees of Shiva or Durga, they are not preaching Mayavadi philosophy. That's also one of the points. They're not speaking the philosophy of absolute oneness. For example, when Yudhishthira is...
Not even Sankaracharya, was it?
Well, Sankaracharya, he was really preaching that philosophy of absolute oneness, but even he was including bhakti in his activities. Yeah. Yes, he was worshipping the deity of Kṛṣṇa at his home.
Yeah.
And he was making a nice he had made very nice prayers to Kṛṣṇa. He has made this song which we sing on the Ratha Yatra for Jagannath. Ratha Yatra. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatumi. This is Shankaracharya who has written, and all of the devotees are singing this. I think most they may not be aware that Shankaracharya made that.
I had no idea. I thought it was maybe someone later. But
and he has made some nice prayers to Kṛṣṇa also, like that. So anyway, so things are things are what they are. So to say, and we don't need to have
I guess they incarnate as Mayavadi, or in clothes of a Mayavadi for a specific reason, right?
Yeah, because Adi Shankaracharya, he is stated to be from the Vaishnava viewpoint, of course, to be an incarnation of Lord Shiva for coming to Kali Yuga to actually give this scriptural interpretation of full focus on merging with Brahman as the main thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was to direct the Buddhists, right? Who were completely retired from all kinds of Vedic knowledge, right?
Yeah. He actually did that, to take over, the lead after the Buddhist.
Right.
Yeah. So he's because it said that he was still preaching Buddhism, but now in using the Vedas for the Buddhism. So in that way he's So it's said, he will preach Buddha Dharma. I can put the quote here. I just found a quote here. Let's see. I can put a quote that Lord Shiva, preaching, you can say covered Buddhism as Sankara Acharya. Yeah. So that's Kaladigramaka Rudra Vaseja Timoyahan. So he's bewildering the people. And he's actually Rudra, said, yeah. Some Buddha Shastra Parovi Proya Kaschit Shishyaka Sasam Karascha Sanyasya Tasmat Sanyasarupina. So he comes in the form of a sannyas. Shankaracharya was, real sannyasa. And Vedanta Shastrami Tietat Dushta Shastram Chakarayata. Yeah, so he's giving the you can say the Dushta. It's not really. It's like he's giving them actually the Buddhists Dharma. Yeah, that's the meaning of that. So it's not the actual Shastra, but you can say a polluted Shastra. Yeah. So this is from the Skanda Purana. Yeah. Sorry, my bad translation. But anyway, you get the point. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it was a really long tangent from Kṛṣṇa kidnapping. Was it Rukmiṇī?
Yeah. Yeah. Kṛṣṇa is going to do that. Just wait for a second. Now it's soon coming. We go on the next one. Namaste Tvambike Bhikshnam Svasantana Yutam Shivam Bhuyat Patir Me Bhagavan Kṛṣṇa Tad Anumodatam. So Princess Rukmiṇī is praying now. O Mother Ambika, wife of Lord Shiva, I repeatedly offer my obeisances unto you, together with your children. May Lord Kṛṣṇa become my husband. Please grant this. So Rukmiṇī, see, she really wants to please, Ambika, Durga Devi, right? So she's also, say, I give my obeisances to your husband also, and your children.
Yeah.
So in other words, she's dealing with, the goddess as a person. It's like if you meet somebody, who is married and having children, you will say, good luck with your family, with your, children. It's like you say that. You just don't say good luck to you, because you know that if they have children, they really care about their children. So if you say that also, then they feel more happy. Yeah. So that shows that the gods, they're not detached from their family life. It's not that they say, "Oh, my children, it's just Maya. I'm just a god. I know everything. No, they actually have emotions. They really feel for their children, just like any mother will do.
Right.
And this brings us to the actual situation that we have. Durga Devi is not dealing impersonally with us, actually. She has emotions for us. She wants, if we do something, she becomes angry. Is anger manifested there? It's an emotion. Anger is an emotion, right? It's not mechanical. So in that way, if one appeases, the goddess by saying some nice things, she may, cool down. You understand? Our fate may be changed. Say if we did something wrong and then we pray, oh, I'm sorry. It should be, really sincere, because the other side is to do wrong things and then after pray, just because to use that as some kind of extinguisher of the fire, to use that as some kind of trick to do wrong things and then get away with it. No, then it said the punishment from the Devi Mataji will be even worse.
Oh yeah.
Because then she sees that we're real rascals, But if we're actually not rascals, because everybody may fail sometimes, but we regret it and we want to shape up, then the punishment will always be lessened. Yeah, it will be adjusted accordingly. Yeah. And similarly, if we are devotees and we chant a Hare Krishna mantra, she will have a soft spot for us. Durga Devi will have a soft spot. You know what the meaning of soft spot is? Like she kind of thinks we are good people if we try to be devotees of Krishna. Yeah. And again that we not that we don't do that in some kind of sneaky way. That okay, now I'm going to be a devotee of Krishna, because then I can do like verse. I can be like a rascal, and Durga will not be so heavy on me because I'm a devotee, right? This kind of sneaky thinking. She immediately sees through all of that.
There's actually a very advanced science, because Krishna's devotee never perishes, and there's also a funny verse. I think it's chapter 9, where Krishna says this: even in the beginning, someone may do not a very pure devotional service. He should still be considered actually saintly, because he's right determination.
That's a very important point, and especially, I mean, even more for you can say us, when we see somebody else, fail, or mess up things, then we often have a tendency to kind of get nourished from that, If some big person, or somebody, usually when somebody above us fail, then we can kind of feel some. It's called Schadenfreude, It's like a German expression. That they got him, that big person, who has succeeded so much, and now finally some fault happened with that person, and we feel like this is now nectar, But then we're failing like anything ourselves, actually.
Yeah, but this is a great science, this whole system of emotion and the truth connected with all these emotions. It's actually a very, very great and intricate science.
It is really that. It's very well said. And that's the whole science of Krishna consciousness, is to some or other get to use our emotions for Krishna. Involve them, in the proper channel. Because we cannot get rid of the emotions, because all these emotions are part of the soul.
You can even just neglect everything and just chant and remember Krishna in full remembrance, and in that way you're like protected as a devotee.
Yeah, you can do that, and then your emotions will gradually be transferred to emotions. On starting with a name, one starts getting emotions for Krishna's name, and then that is called nama, smarana. One remembers the name. That's the beginning, actually. The smarana is the outcome of our hearing and chanting, shravanam and kirtanam. The outcome of that should be smarana, that we remember Krishna. So the first step is to have nama smarana. We never remember the name of Krishna. So in that way, we simply hear the name and focus on the name itself. And then it will go over to be, guna, rupa smarana, like that, remembrance of the form of Krishna and his qualities. And the more we do, the more emotions will be, going in this channel, instead of going to the material channels.
Right.
You know how it is today, because of the internet, we can get into some, influencers, emotional life, and they know, influencers or people who try to get views and followers, they know that, and one of the tricks they have is that when they are making, a video, they try and do stuff that triggers our emotions.
Yeah.
So for example, it's very popular now, that some influencer, they're talking in crying, talking about some personal stuff, crying, and this is very good, stuff to get followers.
Yeah, I think people are, because it's a lot of just pulling mechanical wires, essentially, that are hardwiring our emotional system.
Exactly.
People will overcome this lower nature and essentially become, no, I can see that this is rascaldom, this is not.
Yeah. So in that way, we stop having a life ourselves, and we tune into the life of some stranger, who has a YouTube channel or has a TikTok account, or I don't know what. So in that way, no.
Yeah, and there's an exchange of service actually for both parties during this.
It is. So, but in another sense, it's not bad. In another way, it's a job, right? These jobs are normal jobs.
It's an exchange.
Everybody has to make for their bread and butter. So it's like, but it's kind of entertainment in one way. So people are entertainers, and we are the one who buys into the entertainment. They buy our time, by our spending time viewing content. Then we are, that's how we pay. We pay with our time nowadays.
Yeah, and people are so eager to just be recognized, so it's a win-win, right?
Yeah, but on the higher level of our life, we will spend our time and invest our emotions in Kṛṣṇa. That's the idea. And
at all times.
Huh?
At all times.
Exactly.
If we're doing something like even eating or taking a shower, it's like we're praying to Kṛṣṇa, like that this activity will somehow increase my love for you and increase my attachment for you.
Exactly. So just imagine how much Rukmiṇī is absorbed in Kṛṣṇa at this moment. She really, really wants him to be her husband, like fully. She's not thinking about nothing else. It's Eka,
Yeah.
She's completely just one thing on her mind, nothing else. And in that way, she's just full. All her emotions are invested now in Kṛṣṇa. And in that state, she's praying, to the goddess, Devi. So if you are in that state, we can also do similar, and we can get away with that. It's not that anybody will accuse us of being, a Devi worshipper. But otherwise, if we pray to the Devi, please give me, a color TV, give me a Mercedes-Benz. Then she may grant that actually, but we will not get love for Kṛṣṇa. So in the next verse, it says that Rukmiṇī, she worshipped the goddess with water, scents, whole grains, incense, clothing, garlands, necklaces, jewelry, and other prescribed offerings and gifts, and also with arrays of lamps. So mind you, she was a princess, so she had a lot of riches. The married Brahmana women each performed worship simultaneously with the same items. So it was like a mass worship ceremony. Can you imagine? She herself did the worship, and then all this huge amount of Brahmana ladies, they also did the worship at the same time. So this verse is also showing that women, sometimes one can get the idea, that women cannot do worship or something like that, which is of course not correct. They can, and just as men can do Brahminical things by initiation, women can also do the same. Yeah. So and then also said here, also offering savories and cakes. They were also cooking prepared betel nut. This is kind of an intoxicant, actually.
Yeah, I know. Chaitanya passed out.
What do you say?
I thought Chaitanya tried some betel prasadam and he was completely passed out. And
Oh, really? I never heard that, but I know that we're not offering this to Gaura Nitai. It doesn't fit for Chaitanya, but because he's playing Krishna's devotee.
Or something. He got some betel nut prasadam, and I heard he was completely not very tolerant to it. He was passing out, And,
it's probably a teaching for us that devotees don't take that, because actually in the Kṛṣṇa temples, it's actually offered to Kṛṣṇa in India, the betel nut.
All right.
Yeah. But devotees, they don't partake in that prasadam afterwards.
No.
Yeah. And then she offering sacred threads, Brahmana threads. So this is also interesting. This is interesting because we talk about Durga Devi. What does she need? Is she a Brahmana also? Well, it looks like that. Or maybe she's give the threads to her husband. I don't know. It beats me.
The Brahmin threads are offered to the Durga or Kṛṣṇa?
Well, here she is offering it to Durga. So I'm sure there is an explanation for that. It must be.
Certainly, it's like it.
Yeah, and then the fruit and the sugarcane juice. So this thing with fruit, this is very, very common in worship of any kind of deity. If you come to a temple and you have no idea what to give the deity, or if you have a little deity in your home, Kṛṣṇa, Gaura, whatever, and you have no idea what should I do, just buy some fruit and give it to the deity. He will always be good.
And even if you can't do that, you can always do water, right?
Yeah, and even if you can't do that, you can just chant,
right.
Chant Hare Krishna.
Chant a little bit.
Offer
obeisances.
Yeah, exactly. And the next verse, it says, Tasyai striyasta pradadhu shesham yuyuhur ashishaha tabyo devai namas chakre shesham cha jagri vadu. The ladies gave the bride the remnants of the offerings and then blessed her. So they gave the remnants back to Rukmiṇī. Yeah. She in turn bowed down to them and the deity and accepted the remnants as prasadam. Yeah. So prasadam is also called shesha. It means remnants.
Oh.
Yeah. And these are arshisha, it is blessings. There is like an expression in India, it's called ashirvad. It comes from the same word, ashish. It means, people are going to saints in India and they just say, please give me your please give him, and then there is the utterance ashirvad. Yeah. You get the blessings. And here it said the next verse, Muni vratam atatyaktva nishchakramambika grihat pragriya panina brityam ratna mudru pashobhina. The princess then gave up her vow of silence and left the Ambika temple, holding on to a maidservant with her hand, which was adorned with a jeweled ring. So apparently when she was in the temple, she didn't speak. Yeah? Had a Mauna Vrata or Muni Vrata. Actually, this is one of the rules in the temple, that one shouldn't actually, talk about, everything in the whole world in front of the deities.
Yeah, it was one of the first things I learned, actually.
Yeah. Apparently Jesus also, he was blasting, the people who were in the temple back in the day.
Yeah,
that they were talking.
It's not very proper, I don't think.
Yeah, and they used to, Jesus, he blasted them also because they came there to have, as a social gathering, to come to the temple and do business exchanges in the temple.
Yeah, right.
So he was just, really angry. And, he also just showed, that he didn't subscribe to all this ritualistic kind of, sorry, I've just write a short message, somebody calling me.
Yeah, it's okay. No, because he wanted very sincere worship or love of God, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Sorry. What did you say, bro?
And I just said he wanted the pure love of God, sincere and pure.
Yeah. Who wanted?
Jesus, was it?
Jesus.
Couldn't remember how it connected with our Kṛṣṇa story, though. Were they speaking very nice words in the temple, or?
Who was speaking words in the temple? Sorry.
No, you said something because now, from what I remember, it was she was offered Brahmin thread, and she took the remnants. The princess took the remnants, or the mercy of Durga Devi.
Yes. Because it said, when we do worship of any deity, it is our duty to actually accept the prasadam. Yeah, it should be honored. Yeah. And it should be distributed also, if possible, to others. It's not that, one throws, the prasadam, just in the trash, That's actually an offense. Yeah. That's very important, to take it's called, Maha Prasadam even, because it's very, especially what was directly in the cup, to the deities.
Yeah, but that is also, a verdict, isn't it? When you're doing communion like that, it's a verdict also, the prasadam, I thought.
What does verdict mean?
It's like when someone takes a case to the court, and the court has decided, and the judge gives the verdict. It's like the decision that has been done from this meeting or this case.
Oh, I couldn't grasp it. But what does that have to do with accepting prasadam, verdict?
Because you approach the deity or the demigod or god, and you approach them with some maybe some request or maybe some pure request.
That's true. Yeah.
And you offer them some prasad, some fruit or some little boga or something. And then the remnant is like the verdict. It's like the result or the opinion or what is whether it's been accepted or not. From the judge, I guess. It's the verdict.
Oh, like that. I'm not sure I agree about that. What is said is actually that if we offered, it's actually a subtle thing. You can't actually see it. It's going on in the Daivika realm, Adidavika realm. Yeah. And what is happening is if we offered, as I told you, it's possible to be in rascal mode, and then one is doing this just as a way to get away from sinful reactions or just, just in the wrong mood. Then it's not actually the prasadam what we're getting. You understand? Then it's just then it, then actually doesn't. But if we actually did it honestly and with a good intention, then we can take that prasadam, and then we actually are filled up with that association with the God which we worshipped. Yeah.
Yeah, you would think so, but that is also we need to also consider, the person we are approaching also, because maybe they have some independent decision, right? That no, this is not so good time because my daughter is getting married, and if maybe someone would answer like that.
Well,
there will be offense, of course, but
I mean, you're talking about the demigod, which will say it's not such a good time.
I really don't know.
No, the demigods have all the time in the world for us. That's one of the features of the demigods.
Okay.
Although it's you see, it's explained that they also have family gatherings. They're also getting married. Like I told the other day that Shiva got married to Parvati. It was a huge marriage. All the mountains they came. and because there were personified mountains, they put such a weight on the earth that the earth was almost falling out of the orbit. So then they need to do a trick. As I told, they sent Agastya to fool one of the mountains who didn't yet come. They fooled this mountain, Vindhya mountain, to bow down to the south, to kind of make the balance the other direction. And so the mountain was asking, when are you coming back? When should I raise myself up again? And Agastya said, you can keep down until I come back and cross over you again. And okay, and then he never came back. Yeah. Yeah. So, but you see, the time is working differently in the heavenly planets. And apart from that, they have, you see, there are two manifestations we deal with here. One is that they have their Adibautika manifestation, and that can be, they can appear for us in the form of a deity. That's not only for Kṛṣṇa and everything. It's even everybody here. We have our Adibautika manifestation, also the gods.
Right.
Then they have their Adidavika manifestation. In that Adidavika form, they're controlling affairs in the universe, such like the god of water, Varuna. He's
completely neglected to think about that.
Yeah. Wherever there is water, wherever there is water, Varuna is paying attention to have a deal with him in the water. For example, in the old Vedic system, you cannot urinate straight in the water. It's an offense to Varuna, and stuff like that. So anyway, now hopefully we are excused because we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. And we cannot avoid, we have the toilets are built as they are, right? But there is one entity, which doesn't get offended by urine and stool, and that is Mother Earth. And it's explained that's because she's our mother, and it's like the baby. If the baby passes urine and stool, and the mother doesn't mind at all. So in the Vedic system, one is actually passing stool and urine on the earth. That's the way to do it to keep good relations with the gods. Yeah. So that's the Vedic village life. I mean, I'm not saying that we should do that now, but anyway, that's kind of just illustrates the relationship. But then you have the Leelas where actually Mother Earth is personified. She's walking around like in some Leela, or a water god is coming present, and that means that then they're personally doing that. But they do that through their expansion, because they can also expand themselves. So still they are making sure everything is going on in the world in regards to earth or water respectively. Still they are in full check of all the situation, and at the same time they have their fun Leela with family members and so such.
Sorry, Bill just came.
Oh, okay. Where are you?
I'm in the temple actually.
Oh, I see. I saw, because I didn't imagine you could go all the way to your place. Yeah, very good. So please say hi to Brahmanya. Brahmanya Prabhu, yeah. And because now we talked about the Brahmana wives, so now Brahmanya is coming, so that's very good.
Right.
Yeah, so let's see if we can learn something more here. So here we have a huge verse, actually 3 verses, I think. So now we'll see actually how did the Rukmiṇī look like. So the translation goes, Rukmiṇī appeared as enchanting as the Lord's illusory potency, who enchants even the sober and grave. Thus the kings gazed upon her virgin beauty. So now she actually has been in the Durga temple, and now she goes out to see all the all the kings who wants to marry her. Yeah. So the kings gazed upon her virgin beauty, and also the virgin. Everybody. They wanted to be untouched before marriage, right?
Yeah.
That's the Vedic system. Otherwise, she wouldn't have actually a good chance. That's why Kunti, when she got Kṛṣṇa, she called the sun god. She got a mantra, and the sun god came and made her pregnant, right? Kunti Devi. She is the mother of the Pandavas. And since she wasn't yet married, she actually was taking the baby, and she put him in a basket down the river. Isn't that a similar story in the Bible?
Yeah, actually, I thought was it Noah or Moses?
Yeah, probably it was Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kṛṣṇa was the son of the sun god, so he was a very powerful fighter. But he was picked up by somebody who was in the lower class, and so he never was considered to be a proper kshatriya, or very often. But then he proved himself by his fighting anyway later. Yeah. So, but anyway, here she is described her body, her shapely waist, and her lovely face adorned with earrings. Her hips were graced with a jewel-studded belt. Her breasts were just budding, and her eyes seemed apprehensive over encroaching locks of hair. She smiled sweetly, her jasmine bud teeth reflecting the glow of her bimba red lips. So, just for our information, jasmine is a flower. Yep. It's a beautiful white flower, so that's a good, analogy. It's a very white, this jasmine flower. So she has teeth like that, and bimba is another, it's a fruit. It's not a flower, sorry, it's a fruit. Yeah. Kṛṣṇa is also described to have bimba red lips. Yeah. And as she walked with the motions of a royal swan, can you imagine a swan which is a royal swan? The effulgence of her tinkling ankle bells beautified her feet. Seeing her, the assembled heroes were totally bewildered. Lust tore at their hearts. Indeed, when the kings saw her broad smile and shy glance, they became stupefied, dropped their weapons, and fell unconscious to the ground. They fainted. Yeah, so do you remember the other day when I talked about the effects of Cupid, his 5 arrows?
Right.
So it's now it's the time we could recall, the 5 arrows of Cupid.
And you said, did you say he used to shoot 5 at a time, all 5 at once?
What did you say?
No, you said something like he shoots 5 arrows all at once, right?
Well, I don't know if he does. Yeah, I mean he does it. Let's see. How is it again? I think he takes them one by one. I think there is like a gradual effect. Yeah.
Okay, so they definitely who fainted definitely got hit by all the 5, right?
So in these 5 arrows, I will write it here, because we talked about these flowers, so these 5 arrows, the 5 flower arrows are made of white lotus. So Cupid's arrows, it will appear on our YouTube now. They're made of white lotus, red flower, mango blossom, jasmine, and blue water lily. They're very beautiful, flower arrows. And now let's see what do they, represent. Yeah. So here it comes. So I will take them one by one just to make a little bit of nice, because they're quite, they're definitely coming in the progression. So flower number 1, okay? The flower number 1, white lotus or Aravinda creates pleasing and desiring feeling, harshana. So in that way, one feels very pleased by the first flower. The first flower falling in love, it's very pleasing. And then the next one, the red flower, Ashoka, creates attraction or temptation. So it's building up, in other words. Like that. Here it goes, yeah. So you can see that it's the color, white is very pure always, right? When it becomes red, it becomes, a little bit more passionate. And let's see what the next flower is doing. Well, it's the mango flower, mango blossom. It creates something called infatuation. Here it goes. Yep. Mohanam. Mohana means also one becomes bewildered. And that's what we see that happened with the kings here. Right? And it still progresses. Let's see what the 4th one does. The jasmine or Navamalika creates love sickness. One becomes like mad or something. Actually, one becomes weak. Yeah. Shoshanam. Actually, Shoshana is also sometimes called crying, Yeah.
This is mode of passion completely, right? And,
yeah. This is the development. But as you know, when one gets into the passion, without having any view of goodness in the horizon, what is actually happening? It goes to tamaguna, actually, right?
All right.
So as you saw, they just fainted, and that is an effect of tamaguna, to lose the consciousness. So just wait for it. What do you think the 5th flower is showing? Blue water lily or Nilo Utpala creates death, maranam.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, one can die out of love. This is actually what happened, in some leelas.
Like you immediately take to your subtle body and just enter into, the lustful realms.
Yeah, this is all happening in the subtle body. Cupid is in the subtle world, and he's shooting this, these arrows.
Was it in earlier Yuga where Cupid got cursed to be invisible?
Yeah, it was in the earlier Yuga. Yeah, the Yuga where she was. I think it was in Treta Yuga, where we have Dakshayaga. She was losing his wife. The wife is self-combusting, and she's burned herself up out of anger. Then she comes again as Parvati, the daughter of the mountain, and then she approaches Shiva, and the demigods has arranged that Shiva should be, become lusty, because they want him to again get together with Parvati in order to create a child, and that child is going to be Kartikeya, and that's in order to kill that demon. What was the name of that demon again? Just give me a second. there's a demon, which had done austerities, and from Lord Brahma, he got the boon, this demon, that he should only be killed by a 6-year-old boy. So that's why they need to get the boy, who was very powerful.
Yeah, I see. I remember now.
Yeah. And now finally I found the name. It's Tarakasura. Yeah. Tarakasura demon. Yeah. Asura means demon. Yeah. Taraka Asura. Yeah. Needed to be killed. So the devatas, they got Cupid. They tasked Cupid to make Shiva attracted to Parvati. Yeah, and the rest is history, right? Yeah, and then I have to mention. Yeah, and then I forgot to mention the point. So then Shiva was initially very angry at being shot by Cupid's arrows upon seeing Parvati. So Shiva burned him up, burned his body to ashes, burned Cupid's body to ashes, leaving Cupid only with a subtle body. Hence another name of Cupid is Ananga. Anga. It means no limb, no body. Yeah, he has no body. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So like that.
It's a really funny story.
Yeah, what did you say?
No, I just thought it was a little bit funny. But...
Yeah, it's extremely funny, really. What's happening? Cupid, he was originally created by Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma created, all the living beings, including all the gods. And he's also called Kandarpa for that reason, because he was created, and then he folded his hands. Actually, Lord Brahma first, he just wanted, to create some men and women, so they could, then create, further and populate the whole universe. But it didn't really go very quick. So, Brahma got a little impatient, so he created Kandarpa, the god of love, to shoot, the arrows of lust, right? So Kandarpa, immediately when he was created, he said to Brahma, Kim Darpami. Yeah. So the Kim Darpami, it means who should I make proud? Yeah. He was asking Brahma, okay, so who should I make proud? So it's, in other words, pride comes before lust. Does it make sense?
Oh. I see.
So first one has to think one is the master of the world, or like the lady will think she is so beautiful, the man will think she's so fantastic, and then
I guess.
Then it's the proper place where Cupid can now shoot, or in another sense he's shooting and he's making you proud in any way.
Wow, that's some self-realization,
isn't it?
Right there.
Yeah. So Kandarpa is the name given to him who asked that question.
Somehow we use this pride in Krishna's service, right?
Yeah. So that's the point. Take pride in Krishna's service.
Right.
and then we cannot escape any of the energies, right? That's one of the points. We can't escape actually Cupid even. Any energies. So take pride in Krishna's service, and the transcendental Cupid will shoot. Yeah. So that's actually what's happening, and make us attracted to Krishna instead. Yeah. 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 So another name of Krishna, Madana Mohana. Madana Mohana. Yeah. That means the one who bewilders. Madhana. Cupid. That's another name of Cupid. So that's another name of Krishna. So he will bewilder. He's so beautiful that Cupid also is bewildered. He doesn't know what to do. He is also attracted. Cupid personally is attracted to Krishna. Yeah.
Of course, he's all attracted.
Yeah. So some or other, he's the best bet for any person to be happy and get free from trouble.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Let's see if we yeah.
Yeah. That's always the point.
That's always really the point. Yeah. I actually didn't finish reading the whole. It was like 3 verses, all translated here. Yeah. So they dropped their weapons and fell unconscious. That's where we ended. Yeah. And now, on the pretext of the procession, Rukmiṇī displayed her beautiful Krishna alone. So she now showed off for Krishna, because now all the other princes were out of play. The only one who didn't faint was Krishna. So slowly she advanced the 2 moving lotus whorls of her feet, awaiting the arrival of the Supreme Lord. With the fingernails of her left hand, she pushed some strands of hair away from her face and shyly looked from the corners of her eyes at the king standing before her. At that moment she saw Krishna. Also, so now there are a few kings standing there. Probably that was her father and Balaram. And her brother maybe, yeah. Anyway, at that moment she saw Krishna. Then, while his enemies looked on, probably a few of the enemies had already gotten up on their feet, the Lord seized the princess, who was eager to mount his chariot. So the Lord is seizing her, it means he grabs her, right? Krishna is very strong. With just one arm he can just catch her and put her on the back of the horse. And then off they go. Next verse is saying, Ratam samarupya suparna lakshanam rajanya chakram paribhuya madavaha tatoyayau rama purugama shanai shri galamadhyad ivabhaga riddhari. Lifting the princess onto his chariot, whose flag bore the emblem of Garud, Lord Madhava drove back the circle of kings. With Balaram in the lead, he slowly exited, like a lion removing his prey from the midst of jackals. Pretty good, yeah?
Yeah.
So if a lion wants to have something to eat, the jackals, they're just fleeing away. Dead corpses. In the jungle or in the desert or something. There may be a dead animal lying, and jackals immediately come and eating. But if the lion comes, the jackals are afraid of the lion. So in that way, Krishna, he just came, and all the others were just scared away. So how can we understand that in our lives when we try to be devotees?
It's like the object of your desire is the predator, right? And
yes.
And I guess the conditioned soul is the little body that is being eaten or something.
Exactly.
There's no question of anything else being attractive when Krishna, appears, I guess.
That's the point. one is saved, Actually, here it was said that the prey, that was actually Rukmiṇī, right? So she was about to be eaten, by the demon. You can say, okay, just for the sake of, making a stark contrast. The other, princes or kings who wanted to have Rukmiṇī, they were demons. Because they were lusting after, her instead of Kṛṣṇa. They were not, after Kṛṣṇa. That's the point, right? They're not devotees. So in that way, they are like jackals. And they wanted to take her, who is a devotee. So in the same way, when we are, in dire situation, we may be somebody who is not demons. Somebody who is not devotees. They may want to use us or get something from us, whatever, for their own egoistic benefit, being completely devoid of devotion. And this is a bad situation. Just like Draupadi, she was also attacked by the demons, and she was also saved by Kṛṣṇa.
Yeah.
So, and then it said here very nicely, you see, all of this has a deeper meaning. Balaram was in the lead. And Balaram, who is he? He is the guru. So in that way, there is definitely something going on here, behind the scenes. And the flag, it bore the emblem of a Garuda. Garuda is such a great devotee.
On Krishna's chariot?
Yeah, on Krishna's chariot, Garuda was there on the flag.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So in other words, you have all your good pals there. You have the protector, Garuda. You have, Kṛṣṇa there, Balaram is there, the guru. It's all very good, actually. And they are very competent, all of them, to help us getting out of the clutches of the demons. And I think you also mentioned that the demons, they can also be, our desires, right?
If you have uncontrolled, like
our material desires can be like these jackals, who are consuming us. But again, Kṛṣṇa, he can take us away from that. So again, the point is we have to be consumed by somebody. So if you have a prey, so either jackals will eat it or the lion will eat it.
Yeah.
So the devotee, he voluntarily surrenders to be consumed by Kṛṣṇa, right? So let's see, the next verse says, Tam manit svabhi bhavam yasya kshayam pare jara sandamukana sehire aho dhig asman yasha attadanvanam gupairitam kesharinam mrigairiva. The kings inimical to the Lord, headed by Jarasandha, could not tolerate this humiliating defeat. They exclaimed, "Oh, damn us! Though we are mighty archers, mere cowards have stolen our honor, just as puny animals might steal the honor of lions." And there ends the chapter.
I was going to say that, because in the wild, actually, the lions have some trouble sometimes, because the hyenas and stuff, they group up, and there's so many. And the cheetahs, the cheetahs almost always, they catch something, and because they're so small, they just get chased away by any almost predator.
Ah, so cheetah, what is that animal again? The cheetah?
It's the fastest animal in the world. It runs like over 100 kilometers.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, and they're really excellent. They're so quick. They're just so fast. They catch even gazelle and all kinds of animals. But
so,
they're not very big. They're just very quick. So they hunt smaller, lesser animals, or lesser
I get it. So in that way, they can actually steal, some prey which was meant for, say for the tiger or lion, and they can get away with it.
Yeah, I think rarely the lion will go and steal someone else's prey, but the hyenas will do that a lot, and the jackals, I think.
What I meant to say is, if that, say you have a lion there and he wants to take some prey, and then a cheetah or a hyena or something can just go and grab it in front of his nose?
No, I've never heard of that. The cheetahs they're a little shy. They're almost like cats, but the lion is a little more proud and will be like, no, I'm the biggest.
Yeah, so in that way, so in that way they are mentioning this analogy, I think, because it really shouldn't happen. That's what they mean to say. We are like lions. So actually it shouldn't happen that some small animal should
really
take.
Because they thought they were the lions. Right?
Yeah, they thought this is impossible. How can Krishna, who is a coward boy, is a Vaishya, and Kshatriya is above the Vaishyas. So he doesn't. They say Krishna doesn't have royal blood in his veins, but they don't know who is Krishna. That he can take any Varna he like,
And he's also the son of Vasudeva, right?
Yeah, so he's the son of Vasudeva, and Vasudeva was in the royal order. So Krishna was simultaneously also the son of the cowards, and then Krishna is also doing the job of a Brahmana when he gives instruction. He's the guru of Arjuna on the battlefield in the big Bhagavad Gita.
Right. Yeah.
So he was criticized. Shishupal was criticizing him for that. He said, "Which Varna is this person? Is he a coward boy? Is he a Kshatriya, or is he a Brahmana?" He takes all these different roles. And Shishupala was insulting Krishna like that because Krishna was chosen as the one to be worshipped in all the assembly. And then, Krishna had promised that he wouldn't kill Shishupala before he has insulted him 100 times. So when Shishupala came with his 100th insult, then Krishna just pulled out his chakra, and the chakra was going and chopped off, his head. But then what happened? Yeah.
No, sorry, I was just wondering the specifics, because I thought it was like Shishupal's daughter or something prayed to Krishna that he would excuse him.
Probably. What happened was that Shishupali was, excused in that way, because when you kill by Krishna directly, then one is getting Sayurja Mukti. One merges with Krishna's body.
Got the boon to be excused 99 times before on the 100th.
That's the thing, yeah. So that Krishna he promised, that he would really excuse Shishupal, but there is a limit for how much. Yeah. So in the same way with our life, we may, since now we try to be devotees, we may be excused quite a lot more than you can say others even, but still there is a limit. If we are rascals and Krishna and Durga will detect that, then they will be on our case like anything. Still.
I don't think devotees really should be excused more than anyone else, because devotees should actually be held to a higher standard.
That's the point,
should be, after Krishna, and if they're going after, something a little bit rascaldom, then it's a pretty blasting way,
Yeah, this is the best I've heard in a long time. So the conclusion, I'll write that here. Devotees should be held to even a higher standard than ordinary people. And what was your reasoning? Because
they're supposed to be chasing after Krishna, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of being devotee, right?
Yeah.
But of course, we're all endeavoring in the what the samskaras or whatever it's called that we have. Some people are just a little bit attracted, interested in Krishna. Some people are, here mostly for the service of Prashadam.
This is one of the things. To become a devotee is a lifetime project. You can say when is it actually happening when that you get labeled as a devotee? That's an interesting thing also. As far as I understand, it is that a guru will say some or other utter that you are a devotee. Some or other the sound vibration will be there.
There's a more precise definition. It's something like if you are submissive, or at least if you're willing to admit you're a little bit attracted by Krishna, then I would say you're in the devotee realm, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, we have the utterance that actually some or other we are by constitution devoted. That's another thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's something similar to that. Lord Vishnu he always has Lakshmi Devi, but still you have the pastime of the churning of the milk ocean, where Lakshmi Devi is coming out as a first person, and then Vishnu seemingly he seemed to be standing there without a consort, and then she's choosing him. So it's like, wasn't he already having her as the wife? So in the same way, we are actually devotees of Krishna, and when we start, the bhakti process, it becomes actually manifested, or rather revealed. Yeah, that is actually the case.
It's so clear to sample every situation, because some people, they just misunderstand what you're talking about, so they will disagree to something they actually agree to.
Yeah, misunderstandings is really the order of the day in Kali Yuga. So that comes together with speaking power. So it's said that devotees should use their speaking power, for Krishna, and try and do the speaking power in the mode of goodness, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Should speak words that's pleasing, that's truthful, that's uplifting, and which tally with the shastras. Yeah, they should.
Speech, right?
Yeah, they should regularly recite, the Vedic literature, such as chanting Hare Krishna mantra is also reciting Vedic literature.
Oh yeah.
So like that. So the devotees should be exemplary in behavior. Yeah, I'll write that also.
It's pretty funny, I think, because actually, when we're thinking that the anything else is worth saying more than just chanting Hare Krishna all the time, it's actually a little bit offense, actually.
What did you say?
I mean, it's Namacharya, he was able to chant, non-stop. But
yeah.
I mean, we take time to discuss philosophy and some other things, because maybe I know the taste for the name isn't so strong. I guess
it's actually about a particular personality, because you have Rupa Goswami. He was not known for chanting so many rounds. Actually, he was known for being a poet, in writing literature.
Right.
You have different types of devotees. Haridas Thakur, that was his thing, to chant Hare Krishna mantra. Yeah, but you have so many different types of devotees. It's very important that we shouldn't just adopt another person's mood out because we just understand this is the highest or something like that. No, it should actually tally with our own personality somehow or other. I mean, it becomes revealed also. Yeah.
That may be a little bit controversial opinion from Hare Krishna, but
yeah.
I think you're correct.
Yeah, I mean, what requires is that we study the tattva and we see what's actually there.
Yeah.
Because we cannot just Xerox copy what other people are doing. Of course, we follow the basic stuff. All of us, we chant 16 rounds, and all these are like. But after many years of practice, it will be more revealed what is actually our spiritual you can say, yeah, you can say our spiritual specifics. Yeah. But that takes some time, because it takes a long life of purification to get there. Otherwise, we usually just are dealing still, with the material mess, try and sort out, all this stuff. When we sorted out our life pretty well, and we have kind of a goodness foundation over our life, then the mind is more free to actually introspect more into the spiritual realm.
Right.
And then these truths are being revealed to us. And then you will actually find that devotees will differ more. Devotees are differing more when they are elder and senior. You will see that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's expected.
Funny,
yeah.
Because and then they can actually start to have disagreements and be actually quite fierce.
Yes, and that's why neophytes should not, poke their nose into that, because they really don't understand. Because the neophytes, the new devotees will all be pretty much similar. But the elder they get, the more dissimilar they will appear, because the spiritual world is big. There's a lot of different places and activities.
Maybe, but all this, I guess the basis for argument and disagreement is ignorance.
Well, yeah, from the material point of view, yes, but you can have the same, discussions in spiritual circles, and that's actually wanted, because that's Krishna Katha, and it can even be, they can even disargue. So sometimes even our acharyas in our line, in our Vaishnava line, are disagreeing on philosophical points. And that's to be expected. It doesn't mean, there is tamoguna there. That's just,
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's just it's just normal. Yeah.
There's I guess I'm pointing towards a more transcendental ignorance. It's essentially something pertaining to your specific eternal form, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And it also, yeah.
You're kind of, because we are different in form, right? Even spiritually, like slightly different Sanatan Dharma or Sanatan Rupa.
Well, Sanatan Dharma is like a general term for all living entities that we belong, to do our spiritual duty. Yeah. So devotees take inspiration from stories like this from the Bhagavatam, and in that way they will find that they have some taste, for these spiritual things, and in that way their spiritual, personality will grow from that. That's the idea.
Yeah, so I think everyone will benefit from listening to this kind of story about Kṛṣṇa.
Yeah, that's the point, because the chanting doesn't exist in a vacuum. In order to chant properly Hare Krishna, you necessarily need to have heard something about Kṛṣṇa, right? You need to know something.
Oh, I thought even the spiritual vibration automatically is connecting with the spiritual world just by the vibration, and it will reveal, just in the same way this guy was chanting Mara, 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 as eventually wrote the whole Rama.
Yeah, it's right? True. So you could do that also. But for most of us, the combination of hearing and chanting is advised, because the hearing gives
more tasteful and less feels less there.
But also the hearing, it helps us with our anartha nivritti, because we hear how to act in different situations. We hear about do's and don'ts, and that will help us have a good position for chanting with attention. You see, the chanting, the name in itself is completely pure, but if we don't have the attention, that means we're too much in passion and ignorance. We can't really get the full, benefit from the name itself. You understand?
Yeah, so maybe that person can channel his devotion in some other way, right?
That's the point. So that's why we cannot chant, as much as 24 hours a day or half of that even. We chant it into...
The mind can become, completely subordinate, and the mind can even be able to 24 hours chant,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is possible. Like Haridas Thakur, it said that he chanted. He divided the chanting in three. He chanted 1/3 loudly, like you would chant so that everybody can hear you, and then the 1/3 was like in japa mood, like silence, like whispering, like that.
Barely audible, yeah.
Yeah, and then the third was in the mind. Third part, yeah.
And it's actually pretty interesting to see how quiet you can chant and still hear the mantra. I guess it's a little bit science, but pretty funny.
Yeah. So that will be the last part of the conclusion, that chanting the Hare Krishna mantra will eventually reveal to us our spiritual nature.
Right.
Yeah. And of course now we can add all the other things, with the help of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra and this, but I will just keep it like that. Because actually it said, we should have such a faith in the Maha Mantra, because the utterances, the different, scriptures, they say stuff like that the Hare Krishna mantra in itself is giving you everything. And one shouldn't take that, one shouldn't take that as exaggeration, because to think that this is just, some kind of propaganda, no, then that is one of the offenses to the whole name.
I have a very firm faith that almost every kind of utterance like that is given in the Shastra is exactly, they have experienced the truth of it. They have experienced it.
Yeah, that's true. It's sakshatkara, it's direct experience. All truths,
right.
All spiritual truths, they need to be directly experienced. So in that way, this is going beyond the logic. That's why, spiritual life will always be mysterious. And rightly so, the devotees are sometimes called mystics. It's a mystical process, 100%.
Greatest mystics.
Yeah. Although initially we operate, within the boundaries of logic and, reasoning and all this. but after some time, it needs to actually be experienced on the spiritual realm. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
We can continue tomorrow if you have time.
Yeah, definitely.
So for now, we will we'll take a break for today.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.